Well, I guess I'll start out by putting a plug in for our new education center. And the reason for it is because one of the things that's bringing to us is bringing us Christian education for our children. And the children, and the reason for that is because in 1977, when we returned from England, being in the Air Force, and I know some of you sitting out there going, 77? I wasn't even born then. They're really old. And the others are sitting out there going, wow, they're just kids. I know who you guys are. But anyway, we came back and we had a little 22-year-old daughter. 22-month-old, whoa, okay. Happens quickly, they grow fast. Anyway, we needed a place for her as a daycare center because Karen was working and I was in the military. So we were looking all over the place and we finally found a Baptist church that had a daycare center and an education center. They did, Christian education as well. So she went and we put her into that. And we were kind of like this because we weren't saved and we didn't want those religious fanatics to get to our daughter. But anyway, it was a little while after, she was coming and she'd go on the school bus, the Sunday school bus, pick her up and go and take her to church. And one day,
she asked us, why we didn't go on the bus with her. And we just said, well, we were busy. And not too long after that, the pastor and his wife came on a visitation, which doesn't happen very much anymore. And understandably, it's kind of a scary world now. But the pastor sat to talk with Ron and I, and his wife went into the bedroom with our daughter, Shayna, who had a KISS poster on her wall.
A 2-year-old, what's a KISS poster? It's nothing but colors and things like that to her, But anyway, after they left, we walked into the bedroom to see how she was doing, and I looked around and I was like, where's the poster? Well, it was in the trash, and she said that the pastor's late wife said that wasn't a good thing to be hanging on your wall, so it was down. But anyway, so we started going to church, and me being the skeptic I am in just about everything that costs money or gets your mind and things like that, I kept listening to the pastor and watching people and things like that, and I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm going to throw a test at God.
He was studying.
That's why she's here. In case I get stuck, don't remember what I want to say. Anyway, I was studying for my next grade, next rank, and it was just so hard. It's so dry. You people that were in the military, you understand the PMEs, the PFEs, the whatever, that military stuff, 2 books of it. I just couldn't do it. I just sit down and I just throw it to the side. Well, I decided to throw this test, and I said, I'm the doubting Thomas. Until I see the nail holes in his hand or thrust my fist in his side, I'll not believe. So I said, anyway, you were too slow. So I said, help me to study, help me to make the next grade. Well, I had missed, I think it was staff sergeant, by 30 points, and I was like, whoa, that was a way big one. Anyway, after I prayed that Sunday and came home Monday, normally what I do is I walk in, kiss her, play with the little girl, our daughter, and then go do whatever I wanted to do. Well, I did the same thing, but some of you that may know the 2x4, 2x6 construction furniture, sofa and chairs, have you ever seen those things? Remember those with the plaid brown cushions? I walked over and picked up the chair, which at that time I could only think it weighed, 10 pounds, but it's more like 50 pounds. And I carried it down the hallway to the bedroom and started studying.
Bottom line is, he made it with no problem.
Anyway, I did this every day until I got to the test. I took the test and I passed the test by 40 points. So that's a big gap in all of that kind of good stuff. So with that being said, I think it was the following Sunday we ran down. Go ahead. To accept the Lord, because I threw the test out and he answered it. What could I do? So anyway, ever since then, it's been smooth sailing like you talked about. There's never been any problems in our lives or anything like that.
Right.
But
Right.
that's like many years ago. But one of the things, too, you brought up when you were talking about Rob. I was being in the military, I did a lot of travel overseas, and when I was overseas, and one of the things, close calls I came to, some of you also know the TWA hijacking that happened in Athens, Greece, where they took a Navy guy and shot him and threw him off on a tarmac. Well, I was traveling with somebody out of Washington, and we had tickets for that airplane, that time, that plane, that day, everything. And a week prior, he called and said, hey, they just opened up a flight. That one went Athens, Rome, Frankfurt. He said, they just opened up a flight from Athens to Frankfurt, direct flight in. So let's change our tickets. Well, it happened to be about the same time they were flying out of Hellinikon, Greece, Athens, Greece. And the security was so tight, we didn't understand it all. He got on the plane in smoking section, I was in non-smoking section. And when we landed in Frankfurt is when he came up to me and said, did you hear what happened? And I said, no, and he told me, and I was like, oh no. If there's anything on the news about a TWA airplane out of Athens, this one's really gonna have a hard time. So anyway, that was a close call. There were other close calls along our life. But at that point in time, I don't know if we knew enough about testimony and how God had helped, but looking back at all that, we definitely know there were a lot of instances that the Lord walked us through. Why? No idea. We'll know one day. And then 2014, just before Christmas, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. It came about by being anemic, low blood counts and stuff like that. We went in and had another test done for blood, and the doctor came out and said, yep, you're borderline anemic, something, we can give you IV some iron, or we can give you the pills. And I said, well, I've been on the pills. And so before I get up to leave, he asked me to lay back on the table, and he started squishing my stomach. Left side was nice, the right side, I could see him just kind of going like this. And I was like, he says, told her to come here. And she felt this and felt that, and it was much harder. And I said, well, it's probably muscle, it's because right-handed and it's muscle. But he said, no, I don't believe so. So I went and had a CAT scan, and they found a massive tumor on my right kidney. And then I had to go in and have a biopsy. Well, afterwards, those of you that have been through trials, once you hear anything like the C word, boy, does your roller coaster go downhill fast. Okay. Anyway, so they told me I had kidney cancer, renal cell carcinoma, and that I had, the oncologist we talked to then said, it's not curable, surgery is not an option, and chemotherapy is the only way to go. Well, to her, things like that don't sit well. And she gets this focus on different things, and normally you have a focus about this big around, hers goes like that. Well, she got online and started looking at the best cancer hospitals to see which ones we could go to for a second opinion. And she went to our PCP and talked to him about getting a second opinion, and the nurse told her, this is not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because we have some good cancer centers here in Tennessee, and I've never seen it approved.
We wanted to go to MD Anderson in Houston.
So about a week later, she said, I'll do it because you're asking, but I've never seen it approved. Well, about a week later, she gets a call and says, I can't believe this, but it's been approved. Well, we know why. So we go down to MD Anderson in Houston. They have all of the records and all of the images and all of the biopsy information that was done in Jackson, Tennessee. I'm meeting with the oncologist and the surgeon, and I told the oncologist what the other one said in Tennessee. And he said, well, let me tell you something. It is curable. Surgery is your only option, and chemotherapy will not work because you have a very rare kidney cancer. 1% or less of the people that get kidney cancer have this, and it's MTSCC. And he said, we know there's 6 chemotherapy therapy, oral chemos out there. We know they don't work. There's 2 others we're still researching. But if you'd have taken that, we probably wouldn't be talking. So it took a little while for me to decide that I was going to have the kidney removed, because being system safety engineer and worrying about dual safety devices and things like that, there's 2 of these. I lose one, I'm down to one, things are not going to go well. Anyway, I had it done ever since, and that was in 2015, February. It's been great. I mean, what really brought us back, and I do say we were going to church. We hadn't found a real church that we wanted to be in or anything like that, but that brought us back because the people, you guys, and everyone else in the church were the prayer warriors. Little did we know that that's what we needed. And I'm the kind of person that I don't believe I need the prayer because there's somebody worse off than I am. I've always thought about, I thought I had it bad because I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. So, anyway, with that being said, I go back it was 3 months, 4 months, now 6 months, to look at my left kidney. It has 4 tumors on it, minor growth. They did a biopsy, had 90% positive that it's not cancer. So we just ride the waves now, and we know we have prayer warriors out there. But, you know, I did ask why. And I know it's one of the things that you always do. But then again, I realized after a while I got God on my side. Why not me? So we go through it together. I have all the prayer warriors I need. I could always use more. We always can. But I thank everybody. And as far as being saved, you know what the future looks like. You just have to battle through some of the things, but don't do it on your own. There are a lot of other people out there that can help you, as well as the Lord. Lean on his shoulders. So.
And it all goes back to a church having a Christian daycare and school. Because I was brought up as a Presbyterian, went to church, did my lessons. Never, ever do I remember hearing about salvation. I never doubted about Christ. I never doubted about God or the Immaculate Conception, but I had no personal relationship. Ron wasn't brought up in any religion at all. He went to camp with the Mennonites, and that was it, to go to camp. But it was all because a little girl went to a Christian daycare. And that's why this building is so important to us. But as Ron said, you know, not everybody can go out on the mission field. But we are a mission field right here to this community. And we need to be able to reach out to them with something that is going to mean something, because they're not going to come necessarily to accept Christ. They're going to come to get something different out of it, and Christ is going to penetrate their lives through the love of the people here. And that's so important, because that's what happened to us. And you know, we've been able to, through Ron's cancer, through my cancer, to reach out to other people and let them know how strong our faith is and how much we believe. And we just thank you all for your prayers, and we are so grateful that we've been able to touch other people's lives. So thank you.
And I do have to say, for her, what she's been through since December also, as strong as she's been in her faith, I don't know how she did it. Because I know what I went through when I found out, and what it did to me. But she's been posting so many different things and it's been all about God and her faith. And you can see how he's pulled her through it. I mean, if you're on Facebook with her and you see some of her posts, to me, it's amazing. I mean, at the point in time, I could never do that. I mean, I was just totally, my roller coaster wouldn't go back uphill. It was stuck down there. It took a while, but she stepped into it, and she just knew that it's just something she's got to go through, and we're going to do it together. So anyway, hopefully that, the testimony mainly is about, to me, the education portion of it because of our new building, because that's what brought us to this. And I don't know what it would look like if that wouldn't have happened. Unknown. But we know where we are now. So.
Thank you.
Amen. Wow.